Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another LFT post review. Today we're actually going to be doubling down and we're going to go for two LFT posts. After some feedback in the first video, I've decided, that I should be doing at least 2 to 3 per video just to break down different perspectives, not have a really in-depth breakdown about one player, but rather a more general overview. And I think that does make sense on the topic that we're focusing on. So last time in the video, if you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. But basically, I had a long introduction about how this is going to work, what I'm going to be going over, why I'm going to be going over it, stuff like that. That won't be here this time. So if this is your first time seeing an LFT post review, you can go back to that video, watch 2 minutes of the intro, and understand why I'm doing this. Today we're starting off with Sae, aka Bruce. We're going to start off with his, and we are going to end with Skim. Okay, so first things first here, when we get into Sae's LFT post, he puts in that his current team is disbanding. Puts in that he's an open schedule. Puts in what he can play. Something else he can do. DM. VLR, right? This is a good, clean cut LFT post. I like this. I would give this an A. So he mentions his last team. He mentions something about himself. He mentions what he is going to play. Okay, what he kind of masters in. He doesn't say that he can play anything. He mentions what he plays on that team, what he's willing to do. So we go to his VLR here. We can see that he's some extensive, experience playing the game. He's kind of got up to around 3,000 rounds playing, a little over that. So very good. We can kind of see that. If we scroll very far down, we can see that he's been playing for a minute here, right? He stuck with this 1337 team for a long time, and it seems like, when they kind of like disbanded or whatever happened, he kind of like fell into, filling or playing with other teams, whatever it is. I know that 1337 turned into Insight, I believe, so I know that was a team for a while, but his most recent team, Externity Black here. So we can see that he has some pretty good stats. He is positive on the first kill, first death ratio when he's playing that jet. He has a good first kill per round. First death per round, pretty average. And again, we can kind of see these stats on these flex agents. These are good stats. You're above that 170, right? It seems like he does take a lot of first engagements when he's on these, so maybe that's the playstyle that team had, whatever the case is. But it is something that he should pay attention to, is how often he's taking those first engagements, because when you're on those agents like Sky and KO, the question is, am I dying with my nade, flashes, and knife? Am I dying with my heal, dog, and flashes, right? The longer you stay alive in a round, theoretically, the more impact you have on that support role. But again, I don't know anything about, how he played that style or how the team went. I'm just kind of just reading it, just with no opinion. So we have a good win here against Complexity. So this was the old Complexity roster, not old, just a couple weeks old. Not the new one for this VCT. So we have names like Brock and Trill and Steph here. Sae went pretty crazy, I'm not going to lie. He was playing the flex role other than the Ascent map, and, he didn't have the most insane performance, but he definitely did his job here. We're getting those first bloods, right? It seemed like Mezzy and Joba had a lot of first engagements too, which is, it happens on maps like Ascent where you're doing a lot of like control-based plays. On the icebox here, seemed that he did really good on the KO, so 13 assists, that's big. Not that many first engagements, but at least he went even. And then we end here on the bind where he plays the Raze, goes demonic on the first kills to first deaths, ACS and kills, kind of an insane game, over 200 ADR. That is definitely a MVP performance. So we know that Sae can get it done on those roles. He can get it done on the jet. He can get it done on the flex. So very, important. I think that, again, his LFT post was an A for me. I'd give this a 9 out of 10 for sure. I don't really think that I would include anything else per se. Just kind of maybe clean it up a little bit with, the likes and retweets. I understand this completely. I do it myself. But again, just adding my opinion. With the LFT and the stuff like that, the team experience is good. And again, he goes over each point that, we're looking for in that LFT. Now, we're going to go over to Skim's LFT post. So he posts here, he's LFT with more time on hand, and he quit competitive before VLR became big and Spike scandal. So Again, if you don't know that, that's fine. I mentioned it in a video a while ago about, tiers of players. Again, if you want to watch that, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine. So what we're going to go to here is we're going to start on his spike. So with his spike, they're showing statistics for the past 3 months. I don't know if you can see full results and full stats. But we see that, Skim's been playing for a little bit here. Started on the Brimstone Gaming, and it seems like he had a bunch of fills and a bunch of kind of like, looks like pug teams for most of the part. He is Jet Sova. Okay, see, the spike is a little all over the place. I can't really, agents, will this tell me? Sorry, I'm not used to this website. Okay, here we go. Kind of. Okay, anyway. Obviously, he could see that he's a pretty heavy Sova player here. Seems like he can flex the jet as well. So kind of like a Huyn type player, a governor type player, where, he can main something else, but he's proficient on the jet. So when we go to his VLR here, they're not giving you much because he mentioned that he competed beforehand. Stats don't really have anything to go off of. You can see that he played a VCS, he filled in for this team, I believe, because it's only one match, and then he played at a LAN, and he lost in groups. So for Skim, I really do think that he should have taken the extra second to word this a lot better. He should have mentioned that he's LFT. He doesn't really need to give the reason, but it's fine if you do because it's short. He didn't go on for, sentence after sentence, paragraph after paragraph explaining how he just got back from fighting a war, right? He just says that he's more time on hand. That's fine. I don't think that you link anything here other than your VLR. So the reason that I say that is when I click on your spike, I don't see anything that the VLR doesn't tell me. Does that make sense? Maybe like the past teams, but at the end of the day, like the only one that I recognize is Brimstone Gaming, just because I actually filled for them at one point. But on the LFT post, I think that you need to mention, what you want to play, why you want to play it, what you're capable of doing, past team experience. So you have it in your bio here, previous Brimstone. I would put that in there because that can help people piece things together, right? Oh, he was on that team when they had that little run. Oh, I remember him from this, right? Your LFT post is only going to kind of like affect people who know you, right? So again, I'm not saying that you're not good, but I'm saying that you're not this big, like 50,000 follower streamer with thousands of viewers, right? So the demographic that you need to reach are the people who don't know you. So you need to offer a little more information about yourself. So Skim's LFT post is a good kind of learning LFT post where I can kind of like break it down a little more. I can explain what he needs to add, what he shouldn't have, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it is kind of difficult for someone who, doesn't really have a lot on the VLR because of how important that is, based on his situation, right? So overall, I'd give Skims probably a 5 out of 10. I'd give it like a C minus. Again, didn't really like include a lot about himself. He sent 2 links that also, didn't give me anything other than his name and his Twitter. But with time, when he gets back into competing, he'll obviously build those back up again. But yeah, to anybody who doesn't really have a lot of competitive experience, or you're in a situation like this where whatever the reason is, you definitely want to make sure that you're listing previous teams that you are on, agents that you can play, and roles that you're willing to do. Right? So IGL, co-IGL, can't IGL, right? Stuff like that. Because again, you're kind of looking for that demographic of people who don't know you, and you want them to reach out to you rather them reading this and instantly closing out of it because they don't understand anything. Like when I read this, I don't learn anything about Skim other than that he quit competitive at one point, right? So again, kind of a red flag, but it is what it is, right? This is a learning experience. Skim doesn't really have any matches per se. I didn't open them at least, just because I kind of saw them. We can open this one as Brimstone Gaming. We can see that he played the Omen here at one point. Again, this is an extremely old match. This was a long time ago. Personally, I don't really know most of these players. Maybe they changed their names or whatever, but this seems like just a clean 2-0 win. Seems like he did his job on Ascent and Bind. Just kind of like the Omen role. Not that many first engagements. He stayed positive on them. He actually had a good amount of assists on that first map as well. But yeah, this is a out of meta. This is an out of date match to look at. But other than that, that is going to conclude this LFT post and review video. If you guys, again, have any comments or things that you want to add, things that you want to see, let me know. I do have a short list of LFT posts that I'm going to be going over. So if you have an LFT post and you want me to review it, you can send it to me on Twitter, on Discord, whatever it is, and I'll try to include it in the video. I have, again, like a good amount of LFT posts that have been sent in so far. But again, I'm doing this for, number one, a learning experience. Number two, to help these players, get some recognition, get some eyes on their names. And number three, to really find out what the LFT post means, the truth behind it, etc. So I am, kind of like keeping my eyes open on the timeline, looking for those posts, that maybe aren't so accurate, that I can break down and kind of pick apart, but I haven't really come across any yet. So I will, stay posted for those. But I'm going to keep trying to do these at least once a week. Last week I didn't get one out, but, this week I will. And again, if you guys have anything, leave it down in the comments. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm T-Dog. I'm out of here. Deuces.